Hello, biology students. We're back for chapters 14 and 15 on evolution and ecology. And this is two simple chapters with some profound effects. I'm going to briefly go over them with you. Of course, I encourage you to look over them yourself. This chapter first dealt with Charles Darwin and Charles Lyell, two of the key players in evolution. Lyell believing the Earth was old, Darwin believing that species evolved, influenced by Charles Lyell, which leads to three different aspects of evolution: biological, biochemical, and cosmic evolution. Now, Darwinian evolution, biological evolution, deals with three different things. It deals with geographical isolation. When species are isolated, they change. Natural selection. When species are in nature, and nature selects the most fit ones to survive. And genetic mutation, that mutations happen and things change. And speciation is when you get new species. Well, as it turns out that natural selection and these type of things can decrease in genetic information, and it can make something survive better, but it has never been shown to increase genetic information or change an entire species into something completely different. And we've never observed that. Evolution can't be a valid theory because it doesn't have the qualifications of valid theory. Valid theory can be falsifiable or verifiable. You can't externally verify or falsify evolution. Evolution can't make predictions because it doesn't know where evolution's going. We don't know how things are evolving. Evolution must be repeatable. Well, it's definitely not, and it must be simple. Well, it's a hard no on the simplicity. There's many basic assumptions that we just can't agree with. For instance, that protozoa gave rise to metazoa. Definitely not happening. And there are 5 different main points against evolution. First of all, macroevolution is not observed. There are no transitional fossils. And a really good example of this is polystrate fossil, extending through multiple layers. You telling me that trees survived for 300 million years without being knocked down or being hit by lightning or by being eaten by a termite or something? It's crazy. By the way, microevolution is observed. For instance, the finches, melanism, DDT-resistant insects. Life did not originate by random chance. Even the simplest things are complex. Evolution defies the second law of thermodynamics because there's always an increasing entropy in a system. And evolution is not a valid theory, especially since it leads to some very questionable things at the end. I'm going to be right back. We're back with ecology. I've linked a PDF, and a PDF is going to be more useful to you because I recorded the ecology PowerPoint in a software that you guys are not going to have. So, anyway, a PDF is better. Ecology has many different points, such as abiotic, biotic factors, many different ideas like an ecosystem, a community, and all the abiotic factors. Community, all the organisms. Population, all the organisms of the same species. And a species, a group of similar organisms that can breed and produce viable offspring. A biome is a regional community, such as a desert biome, or temperate deciduous forest biome, etc. Species are already always in competition with one another, and they try and get into their spot or a role of an organism in the environment. It's called a niche. And even within a tree, there can be 3 different types of warblers that have a different niche. Organisms interact with each other. Parasitism, mutualism, commensalism are 3 different types of interactions, where one is hurt, one is helped, but the other isn't. Doesn't bother, and both are helped. Flow of energy. you can look at a food chain, food web, and food web is like this, how you have all different kinds of animals linked together. You can study them based on their ecological pyramid, how grasses, the bottom of the food chain, fill the most, and then at the very top of the food chain is like a fox, which eats all the things it eats the grass. You have different factors that limit a population. For instance, density dependent depends on the size of the population. Density independent doesn't. Density dependent would be like disease. If there's a lot of people around you, odds are you're going to catch a disease. Density independent would be like a hurricane. It's just going to kill you, regardless of how many people are around you. Give me just a second. The last part of ecology is the different types of cycles, like the water cycle, the carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle. And a couple ideas, like the carrying capacity. The Earth can only hold so many organisms, and only feed so many organisms. And so many ecologists are worried that if the Earth's population shatters like 10 billion people, that we won't be able to provide for all the food necessary. Although I will say that I'm not exactly sure that's a currently pressing matter, because we're finding new ways to get food. More of the question will be space than food. There are already people living in high rises of thousands, so that's carrying capacity. Renewable, non-renewable resources. Renewable are stuff we can get more of, like food, timber, sunlight, wind. Non-renewable resources, like oil, not making much more of that anymore. I got to be careful. We may run out of coal, oil, and natural gas pretty soon. Well, anyway, happy studying. Hope you have a great day. I'll link these things in the description.